Guys, this is an awesome day. I've got a massive PSA submission that came back. Well, massive for me. 40 cards all came back today. Just came in the mail. I haven't even opened the package yet. We're going to open them together. I'm going to show you what I got, but I'm also going to try to give maybe some explanation for why I might have gotten the grades that I got too, which hopefully will be helpful for you guys when you're wanting to send in your own cards and get them graded with PSA. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, we have 2 boxes, which is fantastic. I don't know which one is which, and I will say this, PSA a lot of times shakes up the order when they send them to you, which I don't understand why they don't send them to you in the same order that you send them in. Like, because the order of the cards matters when you send them in. Like, they want them specifically in a certain order, but for whatever reason, when they send them back to you, they don't always send them in the same order. So I don't know how that happens, but here we are. Okay. I'm gonna break right into it. Let's get our first stack going. Why is this thing so hard to open? I missed this back tape. There we go. All right. Ta-da! Beautiful. We can grab the which, so I don't ruin it here. There we go. The other side's down. So we're gonna grab the whole stack here. All right. Really excited about this, guys. Super fun here, and you have to forgive my light might be a little bit obnoxious. So, okay, first card. What is it? Boom! Groudon. What did we get? Gem Mint 10. Heck yeah. So I was really excited about sending in Groudon here. And I'm going to see if I can. This is where, let me adjust my light down a little bit here.
Approximately 10 hours later.
I've moved my little overhead light that usually looks at my face to be above the card. There we go. You can see it a little bit better. Okay, so, you'll have to forgive me. There's going to be a little bit of reflection there, which maybe we can get rid of a little bit. Yeah, there we go. But like, see this right here? There's this little bit of wear at the top. You see that? I've noticed this with a lot of Paradox Rift cards. So you can still send in cards that have that and get a 10. It's almost like it's like a wax smear. It's not really wear. It's something in their manufacturing, and it seems to be something with the wax that's applied to the back of the card. And I've seen this on Paradox Rift, Obsidian Flames, even a little bit of maybe Paldea Evolved. But that kind of whole era affected those cards. And PSA seems to be kind of lenient and understanding about it if it's not too aggressive. So just something I wanted to point out that I think is really important to notice. But notice here too, the corners really clean, really sharp, no white. You definitely want that. Overall centering is pretty good. It's not perfect though. Notice that the top bottom centering is a little off. Even the right left is slightly off. So you don't need perfect centering for a 10. But yeah, absolutely beautiful card. This is a huge win for me. I love that Groudon card. Had to go through a lot of raw copies to get that one. Boom, Eevee. And unfortunately, we got a 9 on this one. I thought this one had a good shot at a 10, but unfortunately, it did not get the 10. There is a white speck. Oh no, here it is. It's this bottom corner. Yep, there it is. I think that's why. I think that's probably should be an acceptable amount of white for a 10 if it's one corner, but PSA did not think so. So I really think this card is one of those where a certain grader might pass it off as a 10 and another one is going to give you a 9. So that's just something to be aware of. If you send in cards like this and it's got like this much white, you may get a 9. So anyway, thankfully that card has appreciated anyway. So if I sell it as a 9, I'm still up, which is great. All right, the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box Stellar Crown Noctowl promo. So you can see right here, it's got the stamp. Boom, Gem Mint 10. I didn't do a very good job of covering that up. Beautiful card. It's well centered. The back is really clean. Corners look really good on it. So yeah, not really surprised by that one. I was expecting a 10. Sorry, I got to try to pick up the pace here. Monkey Dory. Boom, Gem Mint 10. We're excited about that one. This card too, I thought had a really good shot at it. Centering is slightly off, but other than that, it's a very minty card. Corners and edges and everything all look good. And I'm not going to go over it too much in this, but I really tried to check my cards pretty carefully for any print lines, especially on the back, because that can be a big deterrent for Gem Mint 10. So that Monkey Dory I actually pulled from a pack. Yveltal, such a cool card from Paradox Rift, Gem Mint 10. Really excited to see this. I actually thought that this one might not 10. I think if I remember correctly, there's an extremely faint print line on the back. And the really, really faint ones, a lot of times they don't necessarily catch because they're hard to find. You have to really look for them. So you can gamble with the really, really super faint print lines. But if you can easily find that print line, don't send it. It will not 10. But beautiful card. Really excited to see that one. Add it to my Paradox Rift collection. Boom, Charmander Mint 9. I was actually expecting to get somewhere in the 8 to 9 range. The front of this is very clean. Centering is definitely off here. So even the centering wise, you probably would not be able to 10 with this. But the big thing is there is a little wear on the back, kind of between that corner. Well, not wear, but just, kind of a rough cut corner, so to speak. That bottom corner down there, a little bit at the top there. And I think, this edge. See this edge right here? It's kind of tough to tell, but there's white on that edge, just from like a rough cut. And that's something to watch for in the edges, is that will pop you out of a 10. I did not expect this to get a 10. I just love this card. This is the first Pokemon card I remember seeing. I was on the playground as a kid back in 1999, and my friend, Ryan, I'll just say his name. He showed up with he was like my best buddy as a kid. He shows up with a pack of Pokemon cards, and I specifically remember Charmander. I just remember being, whoa, that's so cool. And that kind of is what started the whole thing for me.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
So I just thought it was really special to get a shadowless Charmander, get it graded, even if it's a 9. It's just kind of a fun card, especially for being the start of the hobby for me. And of course, Mitsuhiro Arita, the guy is just an incredible artist, guys. Incredible artist. All right. I got to speed this up or this is going to be a crazy long video. Houndoom unfortunately got a 9. I was really bummed by this. I went through like 10 copies of Houndoom trying to find a 10 worthy candidate. I thought this one had a shot, but apparently it did not. And if I remember correctly, it's this white in this corner here. Again, I thought it was an acceptable amount of white, but like the Eevee, the grader was not going for it. Other than that, the card is I think well centered enough and otherwise pretty clean. Bummed about this one. I really want this in my collection at a 10. I gave up getting copies that were gradable. I may just buy this one graded in the future. But anyway, all right, next up, Squirtle, the Stellar Crown Squirtle. This and the Bulbasaur, man, are the two best cards in the set. Boom, Gem Mint 10, huge win on this one. Had to go through like 2 or 3 copies to find a raw to find this gradable one. Really fun fact, this goes with the Charmander ETB promo from Obsidian Flames, which I already have in a 10. And then let's see if we can get the Bulbasaur in this submission coming up here. Like I said, these are not in any particular order. They're definitely out of order. Toad School. This is a very hard card to grade. All of the Scarlet Violet base set cards, the illustration was are very tough to grade. But boom, I got a Gem Mint 10. This is just an absolutely beautiful copy. It is off-centered, you can tell. But again, centering, guys, for PSA is up to 60-40. It's 45-55 to 60-40 is what they say, which means that you could send in a card that's 60-40 and it's still 10. So especially if you have a card that's otherwise really minty, it's got really sharp corners, edges, a clean back, no print lines, send it in if it's a little off, right? You don't want it to be crazy off. It still looks relatively centered, but if it's a little off, you're okay. All right, next up, boom, Greninja EX. This is a gorgeous promo, and I got it in a Gem Mint 10. I did have to go through multiple copies of this card as well to find one that was 10 gradable. I really feel like this card is way better than the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. You can leave a comment if you disagree with me, but I think this is an absolutely gorgeous card. And yeah, really happy to have this one at a 10. I gotta tell you, the print quality on this promo has not been great though. It's not horrendous, but not great. I think the gem rate on this is, let's drop it. I think the gem rate's like 45%, something like that, maybe a little less. So there were a lot of copies that I saw that were not great, that had a lot of print lines on the back, very noticeable ones, and then whitening on the corners. All right, next up. Boom, a Carmine. I'm really excited about this one. I pulled this myself and we got a gem at 10. It was amazing to pull this. I did not open a lot of Twilight Masquerade, so I got super lucky on this card. Pulled it from an ETB. I think it's a gorgeous card. I'm not normally like a gigantic waifu collector, but guys, look at this card. This is a stunning card. And very clean. The edges and corners and everything very clean. Couldn't find any print lines. It's a little off center, but pretty well centered, honestly. So yeah, definitely 10 worthy. I felt, wasn't surprised by that one. All right, Iono. I pulled this card and I'm unfortunately surprised to see it get a 9. And I don't know why, because I really expected a 10 on this one. It felt really clean to me. When I look at the back, the corners and the edges all look really good. I don't know if there's a print line that I somehow... Okay, I do see a vertical line. Oh, you know what? I see a vertical line. Can you see it right there? Right through the center of the card. You can kind of see it. By the time, there we go. There it is. Yep, I missed that print line. See, that is what PSA will catch. Now, I don't know if YouTube's going to compress this video too much where you can't see it, but right there you can see that print line going up through the back, and I'm sure that's what held this card back. And you can kind of see the way I wave the card, the way that print line shows up. Some cards you'll see them vertical, sometimes it will be horizontal, but either way you got to watch out for those, because look at that. Otherwise this card looks absolutely minty, and yet that thin little print line, boom, knocked out of gem mint status. So I missed that on my pre-grading, which is really unfortunate. Still a really cool card to have in the collection, especially one that I pulled myself, which is pretty awesome. Not sure quite what I'm going to do with that, because I usually like to collect 10s when it comes to modern, but I did pull that card myself. All right, Roaring Moon. I freaking love this card from Paradox Rift, and we got a 10, guys. I was a little bit nervous about this. There is the tiniest white speck in this corner. Can I make it focus? Come on, focus. See that right there? Just tiny pinprick. That's the only thing that I could find. It's not perfectly centered, but it's well enough centered. That was the only thing I could find that would knock it out of 10 status. I felt it deserved 10 status, and I'm really glad to see it get a 10. Beautiful copy I picked up at a local card shop. That local card shop, too, usually doesn't have any higher-end cards, and they just happen to have the Roaring Moon, and I snap bought it. All right, unfortunately, my Altaria got a 9. This is not the one I pulled the other day. I still got to send that one in. This is one that I bought. Bummed about this one. Was hoping for a 10 on it. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can figure out why it may have gotten a 9. Ooh, this is a tough one. I can tell you what, PSA has been very... Is there white right there in that corner? Gosh, PSA's been definitely very picky, I think, lately. Maybe they didn't like the centering on this one, but it looks well centered enough to me. Gosh, I don't know, guys. This is a tricky one. There are some occasions like this where you just... It's tough. I'll probably spend some more time trying to figure out if I can see something. If there's some sort of print artifact that I missed. But sometimes you get a grade like this that just makes you scratch your head. You're like, what is going on? Is PSA... I do feel like PSA is being very harsh right now, so just be careful on that. Kingdra EX, boom, got a gem at 10. Excited about this one. It's really interesting. The Kingdra EX and the Greninja that I showed you earlier are both come from promo boxes, Shrouded Fable promo boxes. For whatever reason, the gem rate of the Kingdra is a little higher, and I thought it would be, because when I was looking through these, I was noticing that it was easier to get mint copies of these than it was the Greninja. Not by a ton, but by a little bit. Like there was still Kingdras that had issues, that had print lines, that had white, etc. But it was a little easier to get my hands on a mint Kingdra EX than a Greninja. You could say that's because the Greninja is more popular. maybe. But I think they may have printed the Kingdras first, and so then the Greninjas ended up being a little less good. Ghastly, guys, I love this card, and I am ecstatic to have gotten it in a 10. I went through a lot of these too that were not gradable at all. There's a ton of these floating out there that are not gradable. This is a hard card to grade. Well, okay. I want to say it's like 45% 10 rate. It might be a little higher than that. I'm trying to remember. So it's not crazy hard. Like the Obsidian Flames or Paldea Evolve, but it's still tough. Now this one right here, there is a white speck there. You see that? And that's what I thought might hold it back. But again, sometimes they determine that these white specks are small enough that they're okay. And then right there, you can see that wax, I don't know what you want to call it, almost wax wear. Again, I've seen this a lot in the Scarlet and Violet area. You'll see it on a lot of them. PSA seems to be forgiving of that because it seems to be like sort of a manufacturing thing. I don't know. But yeah, gorgeous card. Love this card. I don't know. It's just cool. How many times do you see Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar all together on the same card? Mausho did a phenomenal job on this card. All right, we are taking way too long, guys. I need to hurry it up. Persian. I gotta be honest, I thought this card was a long shot for a 10. I do send some cards in that I purposely know will not 10 because I don't believe that PSA will give you all 10s. Like if I send in 40 cards and they're like just absolutely immaculate, I don't believe that they would give me more than maybe even 90% gem rate, and probably wouldn't want to go above like 80% gem rate. It's my own speculation, but I've just seen some weird stuff from my returns where it's like, because the way I think about it is if you're an employee there and you're a grader and your supervisor sees that you're handing out all 10s on a submission, that probably looks a little bad on you. So again, my thought process is let me send some cards I'm okay with not 10ing as a way to make sure that my other ones that should 10 have the best shot. That's my strategy. Leave a comment down below of what you think of that. If you're a grader, if you send in cards, if you think there's something to that. I thought the front of this card really good. The problem with this card, the only one that I could find really, was these stains. You can see that right there. You've got like some kind of purplish stains right there. Almost like something just splashed. And I don't know why I'm getting a little lag on my recording here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and then just start it back up. All right, let's see if we're still kind of getting a little bit of lag, aren't we? Yikes. Okay. Well, I just ruined it, but this is my other Groudon. Extremely excited to see the PSA 10 on both of the Groudons. Again, sent in what I consider to be nice, clean copies. Very sharp. Not perfectly centered, but definitely well centered enough. So really excited to see that. Yeah, why are we getting a little lag here? See that? What's going on with OBS? All right, it dawned on me my phone was not plugged in, and that was probably what was going on, is it was probably getting into like power saving mode or something. Okay, so here we go, Bulbasaur. So this is the other one that we need. I've already got the Charmander at a 10. We just saw the Squirtle. Boom. Bulbasaur got a 10. Excuse me, Bulbasaur got a 10. Absolutely fantastic. Love these cards. Love how there's Pidgeys in all of them. I just think it like unifies it, and it kind of takes you back to like the Ash Ketchum days from the original anime, where he had all 3 starters and a Pidgey, and those were kind of some of his first Pokemon. Beautiful card. Trying to remember if there were anything that I even saw defects wise. Tiny white speck right there in the corner. But I figured that it was small enough that we were good to go, and sure enough we were. So you can have a little bit of white, just a little bit, and be okay, right? A Gem Mint 10 is not a completely perfect card. It's a very, very solid card. Here we go. Groudon from Paradox Rift, Gem Mint 10, not Groudon. Gosh, I'm an idiot. Steelix, sorry. I don't know why I said Groudon. I had Groudon still in the brain. I love this Steelix, guys. I like Steelix just in general as a Pokemon. I think it's super awesome. I like Onix as well. And I just think this is so fun. Like, he's there helping the construction crew. It's just so cool. These illustration rares in Scarlet and Violet have been phenomenal. This card's very clean. The only thing I could find, there is a little bit of a print line. There's a faint print line on the back. And it looks to me like they either didn't catch it or they considered it small enough that they were okay. See, that's the thing about print lines is sometimes they'll sneak through. I thought that this one was kind of a risky thing, but I sent it anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. You can tell me if you think that card maybe just didn't deserve a 10 because of that print line. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I do feel like really faint light ones that don't detract from the look of the card probably should be allowed because, again, a Gem Mint 10 is not a perfect card. But they caught it on that Iono. They must have felt it was more significant on that Iono. So I do think significant print lines for sure, like if they're really noticeable and significant, I think, yeah, it should knock it out of a 10. You want your card to look really nice if it's a 10. All right, now we're going to go through stack number 2. And guys, we're just getting started. We're just getting heated up here. We've got a lot of cool stuff left that I'm really excited about. So here we go. Get out our next stack. Sorry, I got way too many cables and wires and stuff around here because I moved that light over, so it's in my way. All right, stack number 2. So this is the second half of my submission. Here we go. All right, guys, I was really excited about this. I picked this up from my local card shop, like right when it came in. The shout out to the Sleeping Gloom, one of my subscribers. He's a good friend of mine. Works in a local card shop and told me about these before he put them out, which I appreciate. Boom, Gem Mint 10. I really love this Leafeon card. I still like the Leafeon from Crown Zenith the best. That's my favorite Leafeon card. But I love this one from Evolving Skies. Love the little texture they've got going on here too. The way they like had it go different directions for the leaves. Absolutely beautiful card. Fantastic to see it here in a 10. Definitely felt like it deserved a 10 to me. Very, very clean card. All right, here we go. Next up, Mew V. And I can't remember where I picked this one up. I think maybe this was the same local card shop. But beautiful card, guys. I think if I remember correctly, it had a little smudge on the back, so I had to like wipe it up with some water just to get it off. Definitely be very careful. If you ever got to wipe a smudge off, just go real gentle. Use a light cloth, clean it gently. But yeah, beautiful card. Not my favorite Mew ever, just because of kind of all this other stuff, but was one of the alt arts I was kind of hoping to add to my collection. And here we go. Luminion V of 9. And this one, I gotta admit, guys, I was confused by this because I really thought that this card was super minty. Corners and edges are really sharp. I don't see any print lines. This is another one of those head scratchers where I'm just like, what in the world? How did this 9? I know the centering is not perfect, but it looks plenty centered to me. I don't know. If you got any suggestions on why this one might not have, leave me a comment. I'd love to know. Guys, this card is so underrated. Like, what are people doing? They're sleeping on this. First of all, Luminion is just an awesome fish. It's a beautiful little fish. And this card is incredible. Look at the texture of the water. See that swirls? Guys, it's so good. Don't sleep on that card. It's an amazing one. All right, here we go. Pikachu V. Finally got this sucker in a Gem Mint 10. I had 2 copies I originally was going to send, and then I really just poured over them very carefully, and there was just issues with the other one, so I didn't send it. I love this Pikachu. I love how it's got, red on the front here. Of course, I always think of it as Ash Ketchum, but this is just a gorgeous Pikachu card. Murayama did a phenomenal job on this. Back of this was really clean. I was really expecting a 10 on this one. I felt like it had a phenomenal shot for it. Yeah, I think it's a deserved grade. All right. Next up, Venusaur EX. So I knew this wouldn't 10. Look how off center it is. It's very off center. I thought it might 9. It probably technically is centered enough for a 9 because 9 centering actually by PSA standards can be quite off. But it's pretty off center. Let's be honest. Look how thick the top is. Look how thick the left side is. They gave it an 8. I probably, in hindsight, shouldn't have sent this. I pulled this myself, so I was really excited about it, and I wanted to slab it, and I would have been fine with it being in a 9 slab. I think at this point, I will probably just crack it and put it in my binder. And I shouldn't have wasted the money, I think, and should have just not sent it in. So be careful when you get emotional about about cards that you pull, you know, sometimes you just don't want to send them in. They don't deserve it, you know. I pulled this Master Ball reverse holo of Charmeleon with the Charizard SIR, which I'm running it for you, but it's in here as well. So I sent those in. The Japanese Master Balls, of course, are super cool, guys. Phenomenal, you know, box of 151 that I got here. And here's the Charizard. Yep, and I got into 10. I admit the Japanese texture on this one looks awesome. Look at the swirl right here around the sun. You see that? How the texture swirls. Really cool. I didn't appreciate this card until I pulled it, to be honest with you. It's still my least favorite of the 3 starters. I know it's the most expensive, especially in English, and even in Japanese, they're both the most expensive of the 3 starters. But to me, the Venusaur, you know, looking back at this Venusaur, I just like this Venusaur art better. With all the flowers and flora and everything, I like this better. But people love this card. It was still an amazing pull. Definitely felt really cool to pull this card. All right. Next up, another Japanese Kanazawa Pikachu. Absolutely love this card. Reverse holo. Gorgeous card. Look at all that sparkle all over it, guys. Beautiful card. It was great to get a 10 on that. This should be, yep, the Sobble that goes with it as well. Unfortunately, the Melodic that was in that pack when I opened it up was too off-centered, so I did not send it. But I already have that one in a 10. These are actually duplicate copies, so I'll be selling these off. I like to send other things sometimes just to sell, kind of make some money back to help fund my collection. And boom, I'm really surprised this didn't 10. This Versus Energy is gorgeous. Look at this phenomenal, fantastic swirl. I love Cosmos Holofoil swirls. Beautiful card. I think maybe the back centering might be the problem. It's very hard to tell with these Japanese, like where they're just kind of fuzzy, like how centered it really is. But maybe that's why it didn't 10. It's a very clean card, guys. So bummed it didn't 10. This card's not worth much in a 9. Would have been better just to keep it for a binder. Oh, my favorite Leafeon, guys. Boom, Gem at 10. Unfortunately, I did not pull this one. The one I pulled 2 of these and neither one were gradable. But I just went ahead and bought a really clean copy and graded it myself. I love this card. It's my favorite card in Crown Zenith, and it's my favorite Leafeon card. Definitely makes me think of my mom. She's a big gardener, and now she has her own greenhouse. And so he's chilling here in the greenhouse, got his tail in the vase, all the flowers everywhere. I just think it's a beautiful card, guys. Beautiful card. And again, from a grading standpoint, it is a little off center, left to right, right? I saw that before I sent it in. But again, it's within that 60-40 spec. The rest of the card was really clean. And so I feel like you can push more towards the 60-40 if the card's really clean. Does that make sense? And also if it doesn't look bad. Like in this case, I don't feel like it looks bad, right? Some might disagree. Some like perfect centering. This one really surprised me. I have no idea why this got an 8. I honestly thought it was going to get a 10. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, the back looks clean to me. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know, guys. There's like this checkered pattern almost all over the back. Maybe that came from a binder. I thought maybe it was just this print run. Maybe it's slightly pressed on it. I don't know. I thought it was just the cardstock or something. It's not perfect centering, but it's pretty dang well centered. I don't know what's wrong with this one, guys. I thought I looked it over very carefully. There's got to be like a scratch somewhere that I missed or something. Really sad. I love Mega Sableye. Well, I just love Sableye. I love Tyranitar. And the alt art version of this I love, and I have in a 10. But just thought I'd add this one. Sadly, no. So I don't know what happened with that one, guys. Another Kingdra EX got a 10. Fantastic. We already went through that. This again was a nice clean copy, I believe. Yeah, corners look really good on this too. Well centered, clean. Next up, Regidrago V got a 10. Pretty sweet. I've got another one of these that I need to send in as well that I picked up. But beautiful card. And it kind of helps, right? If you grade like 2 of these and you sell one, keep one, it's a great way to kind of just fund your collection. You know what I mean? Make it cheaper to collect. One thing I love about grading. Oh, guys. Okay. So this one is not the one that I pulled, but this got a 10. And this one is the one that I pulled.
Oh yeah!
Now notice the centering on this one is not perfect. It's definitely off. You can see that. But the rest of this card, I'm telling you right now, guys, is immaculate. I remember pulling it and just thinking, whoa, super minty, super clean. Couldn't find a print line, couldn't find any white. And so again, that's where they're going to let you, I think they're going to let you push closer to that 60-40 line if the rest of the card is super clean, right? And 60-40 means 60%, 40% in one or two directions, right? I love this Lugia. It's honestly, this is the card I cared the most about in the entire thing, is this one that I pulled. I wanted both to 10, of course, but I really wanted the one that I pulled to 10. This is such a special card. I'll never forget pulling this, how ecstatic I got. I love Lugia. I love this card specifically. The texture on this card is insane. Like, look at that. Look at that vortex. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, really excited about this. Excited to get both of these in 10s. The thing I can't decide is if I'm going to sell one now to kind of help fund this, or if I'm going to hold on to it, because I really believe in the card long term. The one I pulled, I am not selling. I am keeping that long term. Hopefully, I won't have to sell until maybe maybe my kids go to college or I retire or something. I don't know. But, and I don't have kids yet, by the way. So anyway, this one I was kind of surprised about. And then I looked back at the scans and I was like, you know what? This white is pretty significant. I'm not really sure how I let that one slide, because that's a pretty noticeable white spot. I shouldn't have sent this card. Sometimes you get a little emotional and you want to send cards because you want, them to do well. Try to take as much emotion out of it as you can when you send it in. I mean, if you send a card that you pull and you just want to encapsulate just to encapsulate it and you don't care about the grade, that's different. But I mean, if you're trying to send cards and you legitimately want to get those 10s, you got to pull some emotion out of it. King Gambit promo, thought it was a cool promo. Found one pretty easily, sent it in. Probably not really worth much. I think this card was a pretty clean print, so there will probably be a lot of 10s on the market. Sunflora, pulled this card myself, just think it's such a cute one. Sent it in, Gem Mint 10. Very clean, nice, well-centered for an IR. Yeah, corners look really good. Don't have all that whitening that you a lot of times get. Really nice card. And last but not least, Miraidon EX. Guys, it took me a while to find a minty version of this. Thankfully, I found this one in a local card shop. And even then, I've looked through ones in the local card shop that would not 10. There's a lot of these that have print lines. There's a lot of these that have white on the back, all from the factory. Kind of a challenging card to grade. I love this card. I still need the Crydon, but I love the Miraidon and Crydon legendaries. I think they're really cool, especially this card. I love how Dockspun is just sitting here looking out the apartment window. It's kind of this mythical feel, right, where he happens to catch sighting of this, mythical beast flying through the city. I don't know. I just think it's cool. Really cool, very clean card. Corners were clean. Couldn't find any print lines. Definitely deserved a 10. So, that was a super long video, guys. Obviously. Super long video. I'll move my light over here a little bit better. Yeah, thank you for staying with me if you lasted that entire time. I wanted to both, kind of share my excitement for the reveal of what I got in that return, but I also wanted to kind of try to talk through, what went into the cards, my pre-grading before I sent them, and help you guys just kind of assess how to pre-grade and what to look for in cards and how clean they really need to be to get a 10. Especially things like those print lines are good to look for. I also feel like things like those wax smudges at the top might make you go, ooh, can I send this? And so it's useful information to be able to know that's okay on certain cards. So I haven't seen those, by the way, much on like Sword and Shield. I probably wouldn't send a Sword and Shield card that had that, but Scarlet and Violet, I've seen it a lot, and I think PSA takes that into account. So anyway, hopefully this was a really informative video for you guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think was the biggest win in all of those stacks of cards, what you think was the biggest win. And then maybe let me know too, if you're sending in a submission of cards, what's a big card that you sent in that you're hoping to get back in a high grade. And go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get alerted when I drop another video. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.